Imagine you are a slave. Your master beats you, humiliates you, uses you as he pleases. Your life has no meaning. You just suffer. But one day a miracle happens. Your master frees you. You are free. What do? Most of us would perhaps seek revenge, or pleasure, or forget. But there was one man who did none of these things. He was toast in Epic. After he was freed from slavery, he changed his life completely. He began to learn and teach Stoic philosophy. Stoicism helped him to find the meaning of life, virtue, happiness, and freedom. In Rome, Epictetus lived as a slave to a rich man who worked in Nero's palace. His master, Epictetus, allowed him to learn philosophy. Epictetus became a student of the famous Stoic philosopher Musonius Rufus. Musonius Rufus taught the basic principles of Stoic philosophy. These principles were: 1. In life, there are things we can control and things we cannot control. The things we can control are our thoughts, choices, and values. The things we cannot control are external events, the behavior of others and our body. So we can control many things about ourselves. The things that are out of our control can go beyond our control. 2. Worrying, feeling sad or angry about things we can't control harms us. These feelings cloud our minds, make us unhappy, and limit our freedoms. So we need to accept and be indifferent to the things we cannot control. What we can control, we should approach rationally and virtuously. Being rational means seeing things as they are, thinking logically, and making the right decisions. Being virtuous means developing moral qualities such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, and respecting ourselves and others. And finally, the purpose of life is to be happy. Happiness does not depend on external events or others. Happiness is within our minds. If we manage our mind in a rational and virtuous way, we will be happy. Happiness is deep within our minds, and it is up to us to bring it out. Epictetus not only learned these principles, he applied them to his life. He faced many difficulties in his life. Once his owner beat him so badly that he broke his leg and became a cripple. But Epictetus said, "You broke my leg, but you cannot break my will." Epictetus realized that his body might be a slave, but his mind was free. As it is always said, ideas cannot be chained. He did not let external events disturb him. He focused only on what he could control. When we hold on too tightly to an unpredictable world, our commitment to happiness weakens. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus recognized this timeless truth 2,000 years ago and observed that we often carry unnecessary burdens by caring about too many temporary things. This doesn't mean we shouldn't care at all. The solution is about reorienting our focus. Epictetus believed that our well-being depends on discerning what we can truly control in the whirlwind of change. His philosophy offers a powerful perspective, the dilemma of control. It suggests that some things are under our influence and others are not. A sense of power arises when we actively shape what is within our power. But if we get stuck in what we cannot change, weakness overtakes us. Holding on to the unchangeable traps us where we are. Holding on to the uncontrollable is a sure recipe for suffering. But what do we tend to hold on to too tightly? And why letting go is a path to contentment. Let's dive into the wisdom of Epictetus to discover what really matters, let go of unnecessary baggage, and understand how to adopt this transformative approach. In the opening of his discourses, Epictetus establishes a powerful truth. External circumstances only have power over us if we invite them in. Exiled from his homeland, Epictetus could have wallowed in misery, clinging to the life he had lost. Instead, he chose to walk his new path with a smile. The act of exile itself was beyond his control, but his inner state remained within his sphere of influence. He focused on what he could shape, his attitude, his outlook, and found peace in the midst of turmoil. This is the wisdom we all need. If we focus on what we cannot change, we become captive. If we nurture what is within our reach, we find freedom. So where is the dividing line? What falls under the banner of our true influence? Epictetus clarifies. Some things are under our control, and some are not. The things under our control are ideas, pursuits, desires, hatred, and in a word, our own actions. The things that are not under our control are the body, possessions, reputation, orders, and in a word, everything that is not our own actions. The world, with all its pleasures and frustrations, is ultimately beyond our direct control. However, how we choose to act, think, and be in this world is sacred territory that no one can take away from us. This territory is in our hands. This is not what Epictetus advocates. He believes deeply in living well, in harmony with nature. These noble aims are within our power. The trick is to stop clinging desperately to what fortune may take away, to recognize their transitory nature. The world offers many temptations, such as thrilling pleasures and seductive delights. We chase after them, believing that they will bring lasting joy, and so we cling to anything that promises fulfillment. But loss is an unfaithful friend. Just when we think we have found something to hold on to forever, what we win or lose is a gamble, a roll of the dice of fortune. This dice is like a two-way dice. When our happiness depends on this unpredictable game, we become slaves to chance instead of masters of our own satisfaction. If our goal is true well-being, Epictetus insists that we must break this cycle of clinging to the uncontrollable. Fortunately, he does not leave us without a map. Through our reason, he guides us away from overvaluing the ephemeral and towards a deeper power. For clarity, let's break down his approach into 3 areas. Stop clinging to things, people, and power. Attachment is deep in our nature. We covet objects and attach ourselves to the presence of those we love. Often there is a hidden sense of possessiveness, a confusion between attachment and true love. The sense of possession begins to take over us completely. The familiar comforts us, but its absence terrifies us. We mourn losses before they happen. The fear lives vividly in our imagination. Attachment fueled by this fear becomes a constant and subtle source of unease. The obsession with preventing separation can distort our whole life. As the philosopher Epicurus warned, power is a seductive trap. Its taste breeds an insatiable hunger for more, corrupts individuals, and leads to eternal misery. Those who cling desperately to power can never find peace. They live in constant fear of losing it, and their thirst for control only grows. Yet the real irony is that power itself is as fleeting as any earthly pleasure. It can be given in an instant and taken away in an instant. It is subject to forces beyond our grasp. Fighting the ever-changing tide of existence is unnecessary work. It is exhausting and unnecessary work. The Stoic way, the way of living in harmony with nature, requires us to accept impermanence. But how can we live with this knowledge without despair? Epictetus offers a simple but profound metaphor. See life as a great banquet. If a plate is placed in front of you, he says, accept your share in moderation. Does it pass you by? Don't cling to it. What has not yet been served? Wait patiently. Patience offers great gifts in the end. Apply this wisdom to all the gifts of life: children, loved ones, wealth, influential positions. Do this, and you will earn your place at the feast of the gods. By refusing to hold on to even the good things that are offered to us, we transcend the feast itself and find harmony with the natural flow of the universe. Epictetus proposes a radical shift in perspective, a shield against the inevitable pain of loss. We cling to the idea of ownership, the idea that we have a right to the people, and things we value. But this illusion only brings pain. Instead, imagine that everything you value is only on loan. Never say you've lost it. Instead, say you've given it back, he advises. This is the best way to suppress the delirium of the feeling of loss. The life of a child, the love of a spouse, the comforts of wealth, all return in due course to the great flow of the universe. But we can cry that a cruel person has taken it away. Yet what does it matter by what means these things return to where they came from? If we come from God, we return to God. What does it matter if this return is by the hand of an evil person? While this life is yours, while your soul lives in your body, cherish it. But don't think of it as your eternal home, like a traveler staying at an inn, knowing that their stay is temporary. This truth may sound harsh, but it reflects the nature of our existence. We have nothing but the power of our choices. If we owned our loved ones or our wealth, it would be impossible to lose it. Accepting things as borrowed aligns us with reality. Holding on to things that do not belong to us is a recipe for eternal heartache. Epictetus is not saying that we should live like hermits. Enjoyment is not forbidden. The important thing is to enjoy the gifts of the world with an open hand and be ready to let them go without despair when their time has passed. Stop seeking approval from others. We worry so much about whether others approve of us or not. We bend over backwards for the slightest positive feedback. Approval should actually be in our minds. But why do we do this? Of course, it's easier to make friends or move forward when people like us. But is that kind of convenience worth sacrificing our peace of mind? We are not tribes fighting for survival. Modern society rarely exiles someone based on unpopular views. Epictetus believed that the pursuit of external approval ultimately weakens us. Take a party given by someone you secretly dislike. To be invited means pretending to be enthusiastic, wasting your time. The price is high. If you don't want to pay that price, why be surprised or upset when you are not on the guest list? Refusing to play the popularity game is a hidden power, and this power is a lucrative and difficult one. Sometimes missing out is actually a win. Think about that party invitation. If you are not really interested, the joy is quite superficial. What is the real reward? Not having to falsely praise someone you don't like or endure their company. That is worth celebrating. The endless search for approval is exhausting. We twist ourselves in two to please people we don't care about in the process. We sacrifice our precious peace of mind. Epictetus was not afraid to tell it like it is. If true freedom means enduring a little ridicule, so be it. Let them think you are a fool for being true to yourself. Sometimes being a fool is better than many things. When someone gossips, think, if only they knew the rest of my flaws, and chuckle. I had a viewer ask me if I would make a video about gossip. I hope this one word, this answer, was a content for him. So again, when someone gossips about you, think, I wish they knew the rest of my flaws, and laugh it off. Remember, their opinion is temporary. You can control how much power they have over you. Will you hang on to the judgments, or if so, will you learn from them and throw them into the mental garbage bin? We all have the power to form our own opinions about the opinions of others, and therein lies our true power. As Epictetus said, it is not the insult that hurts, but our belief that it should hurt. When someone tries to provoke you, remind yourself that it is just their opinion, and not necessarily your reality. The other focus is to let go of the illusion of controlling the impossible. The universe has its own agenda and rarely cares about our plans. Fighting reality is a guaranteed path to unhappiness. Obsessing about how things should have been in the past, present, or future only causes suffering. Epictetus gives a powerful lesson in this, using the example of a servant. Even if someone exists to serve us, they still retain their own will, their own weaknesses. We desire a perfect servant, but wishing them to be different from their true prayers is a recipe for disappointment. Peace of mind requires accepting their imperfections. We can apply this truth to the wider world. It is unrealistic to expect harmlessness from everyone. Human nature is wonderfully, horribly messy. Trying to silence every voice that someone finds offensive will not change that. A more helpful and truly Stoic approach starts within ourselves. Can we lead with kindness, even if others do not? Others may or may not follow our example. That is beyond our power. Epictetus expressed this powerfully. Don't wish things to be as you wish them to be. Wish things to be as they are, and then you will move on. We cannot command the world to bend to our will, but we can control our response to it. Insults, thefts, betrayals, these can happen. But our suffering is optional. The world changes as it wants. This change affects us too. Do we cling to a painful struggle, or do we accept the unpredictable dance of life and focus on finding inner strength moment by moment? The choice is yours. Thank you for watching. May change be with you.